Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea. Welcome to a best of 3 between Lambo and HeroMarine. So we're starting on Tropical Sacrifice, one of the maps in the current map pool, or well, how should I say this? One of the maps in the map pool that is being played in tournaments, but hasn't quite been uploaded to the ladder yet. That actually is okay for Zerg. We have 7 new maps, and this is one of the maps that is kind of fine for Zerg, honestly. They're okay playing this map, and Terrans, they often end up with this map in a best of 3 as well, and added on top of that are 2 relatively Terran favored maps, but we'll get to that once we get further into this best of 3, of course. Just cool to see everyone play on these new maps, have new strategies prepared for them. Lambo is a player that loves preparing new stuff, while HeroMarine, in my mind, is a player that does better once things get figured out a little more. He's someone that kind of thrives in a routine of doing the same thing again and again, getting these really tight, solid decisions to whatever gets thrown at him. So if I were to guess, I'd say that Lambo is someone that prefers playing on newer maps more so than HeroMarine. Of course, everyone at this point would just love to play on new maps, but in a competitive setting is what I'm talking about. I'm sure that HeroMarine, with the copious amounts of ladder games that he plays, really would not mind having a couple of new maps to rotate on. This Reaper is going to jump up this Reaper spot and will make its way in towards the main base. Or at least towards the natural base. There's 2 links waiting there for him. 2 extra show up as well. Decent enough control on this Reaper here initially. I'm not quite sure if a link's going to get taken out, but there's still... wait, this first queen is a little late, isn't it? Yeah, first queen is a little late. It's like a queen that was delayed by 2-3 seconds there. Somewhat odd to see. Usually queen pops at 236, 235. This queen popped at 239, so there might have been some inaccuracies in the early game for Lambo that I missed. Or it might be that this map's mining is extremely bad. Might be the case as well. But the Reaper made his way across the map pretty quick, and then the queen got delayed. So, sucks for Lambo, obviously. Command center, 3rd CC already on the way here. This is what we call a triple CC before second gas, or often just referred to as a triple CC. 90% of the games have a triple CC before the extra barracks in this matchup. But whether you call it a 2cc or a triple CC build has to do with the timing of the gas. If the gas gets built before the 3rd command center, you call it a 2cc opener. And if you build the command center before the 3rd gas, or before the 2nd gas, you call it a triple CC opener. It's funny because whenever you think of that in terms of Terran versus Protoss, for example, in Terran versus Protoss, if someone opens up with 3 racks before the 3rd CC, you call it a 3 racks opener or a 2cc opener. But if they open up with a 3rd CC before barracks 2 and 3, you call it a triple CC opener, even if there's already 2 gases going. So these definitions kind of change in between the matchups as well, which can only make it more confusing. It's just a little bit of the lingo explained there. As yeah, this definitely was a triple CC opener, the most economical of builds. This is also, a Viking into a fusion core. I like this build order. Did Lambo spot that 3rd gas? He did. Lambo should know that this is, he's getting a Roach Horn. I'm not sure if this was a reactionary Roach Horn or what he's doing here, but it feels like Lambo knows that this is going to be, well, I want to say mech, but at least he'll know that it's going to be some type of a mech-like opener. HeroMarine is not the type of player that plays a lot of mech, though. He's not a mecher. He is a bio player. He really is just a bio player. And I've seen him go for these BattleCruiser openers, single BattleCruiser openers into Stim. It is just extremely uncommon to see. And majority of the time when there is a BC... Ooh, that's 12 roaches. That is 12 roaches. And as there's no Banshee, and this Battlecruiser most likely is going to be slightly too late, that could be an issue. At the same time though, these Hellions, Hellions taking out 2 queens is really painful. And it's not just painful because you lost 2 queens, but now it's actually kind of scary to move out with all these roaches. These Hellions could do a little bit of damage. No fort base is being built yet. Roaches are going to sneak by. There's not a single unit at home currently for HeroMarine. Lambo's build feels like it should be falling apart, but he's still continuing on with it. Hellions are going to now see that there's a bunch of Ravagers on the way. Links are being produced behind this. This is not just a 12 Roach Hull, and this is a Holy crap, this was 15 roaches, and now a massive link flood behind it as well. These depots are going to get taken out for sure. Ravagers start fighting the Hellions. Links want to kind of march by and make sure to not connect with these Hellions. First battlecruiser is out, and all SCVs have actually been evacuated to the high ground. Sure, a couple of these depots are going to fall. Maybe you even get a couple of worker kills on the third base, but is this really going to be enough? There's almost no damage output though here for HeroMarine. Depots are going to end up falling. SCV pool is too late, will not get the repair off. 10, 11, 12, 13 workers already going down. A couple of bows going to hit in a big way as well. 22 SCVs have fallen so far, and HeroMarine is dead. Just absolutely dead. 30 workers have gone down despite the good early game for HeroMarine. I guess this build order just doesn't match up very well for Terran players. It's gonna lose 33 workers. We have extra spores being built at home right now for Lambo. Realizing that this BC is going to teleport across the map the moment it is allowed to. We have more queens on the way. I wouldn't even mind an extra spore here and there. Just a double spore in one of the bases, or a spore in like one of these in-between areas. BC is going to be scared to teleport across the map. Now, I said this game is over, but that's not even necessarily true yet. There's only 5 queens right now. Is that correct? Yes. 5 queens and 2 BCs, and both of these BCs... Oh, wait, they're teleporting to different bases? Surely joining them up would have been the correct call here, no? Am I the idiot? Well, this base actually taking a fair amount of damage. 2 queens have been taken out already. This spore could perhaps even be targeted down. Let's go for an extractor instead. We have triple spores being built right now. 1 spore is going to get targeted down. Funky micro here out of HeroMarine. Not a huge fan of how this is being controlled. It's taking a lot of time, and it's not really doing all that much. It's not rotating in between bases, forcing out more spores in all the bases. There are 68 workers out already, and we see Lambo exclusively producing drones. There's a couple of links here as well. This is not enough to fight these links though. There's no stim on these marines. No, there is stim on these marines. They will end up stimming. There's no 1-1 yet though. E-base are done. Third CC is still going. Massive supply block here for HeroMarine as well. We do have the Yamato cannon on the way, as well as a third BC. Now the funny thing here is that the moment Yamato finishes up, you do get to shoot 3 queens out of the sky. With the Spire also coming down though. I'm not quite sure if it's going to be in time. Oh, this is an SCV pool. He's good. This is a sick build. Oh, it's not a build. Oh, he's just repairing the BCs. Surely he should just fly the BCs back if he isn't planning on pulling the SCVs with this push. I think he's gonna pull the... Yeah, he's pulling the boys. SCV pool with, what is it, 10 Marines, 2 battlecruisers. This is something we don't see every single day. Third BC also teleports in. 9, 10, 11 roaches on the way. More spores being constructed right now. Bailing Nest is going to get taken out. What is the unit count? The unit count is almost non-existent. This might actually work here. I cannot believe this is potentially working. First stim is being used. No combat shield means these Marines are going to fall pretty quickly. Spire's about to finish up. More spores moving to the front. Never mind. This is dead. No, this is not it. Too many workers as well, and too many bases. Fourth base is about to finish up. Even if you take out an entire base and all of the drones, I just don't think it's going to be enough. SCVs make their way back home. I mean, that was a cute attempt, and I honestly believed for a second it was going to work. But yeah, at the end of the day, once the corruptors are out, and you get like 10, 12 corruptors or so, these BCs are going to be useless. There's no infrastructure here for HeroMarine, who's on 3 barracks right now. Does not have any upgrades. Getting his first upgrades at this point. There's just so many drones. This is doing more damage than it should though. Lambo should not have put these drones back to mining. 2 queens get taken out. Still 1 Yamato available as well. Spore gets taken out. 1 more queen is going to die. Okay, this is dealing way more damage than I thought it would. I feel like if HeroMarine would have kept these SCVs at home, maybe it actually would have been fine. This game is really wild. I have no clue what this is. I should really stop calling games though. I just truly believe that it was over like 4 times already this game. And if you truly believe something, I think it's good to speak up for that. You know? Say what you believe in. Stand by what you believe as well. And that's what I did. I really believe this game was ultra over after the roach all in. Then I believed it was ultra over after Lambo stopped that push here at the front as well. But HeroMarine somehow managing to do it, and I'm not actually sure how unplayable of a position this is right now. it still feels pretty unplayable, right? It's another supply block. It's like the 15th. Like the 12th supply blocker. So for HeroMarine, he's been supply blocked a lot. We have 2 drop depots already as well in this game, which is kind of painful. But yeah, he's just far behind in eco right now. There's very good production for Lambo. Carapace upgrade is done already with Bailing Speed on the way, 6 Corruptors extra. That means we're going to go up to 13 Corruptors. Now 3 Corruptors will get shot out of the sky by these Yamatos. The scary thing is sending these... if you're not very fast, is that the biles can connect very often. Ooh, this is good control. Hello, blink it back. 2 Corruptors get taken out. Yeah. It's nice that you can do this every, couple of minutes. Every minute or so. I'm actually not sure what the cooldown is on Yamato. I think it's like 60 seconds, maybe 70. But this is not enough, like you need more. And ideally you get a cancel on a 5th base at some point. You get some damage in, 4th base needs to be constructed. It wouldn't surprise me if HeroMarine just throws down 3 extra barracks as well though. And decides to go for a big push. Okay, no, that's not going to be the plan. We have turrets coming in, bunkers. So HeroMarine actually is bunkering up right now, saying, hey, I want to survive into a longer game. And if I can survive into a longer game, then perhaps I can, still win in a very late game. I mean, it's a relatively large map. It's difficult to kill Terran players very often, so kind of empathize with that decision as well. We have double Marauders being produced, so that's double Tech Lab, triple Reactor, another supply block here for HeroMarine. That's pretty crazy. That's an uncommon amount of supply blocks here. That is really quite weird, no? That's so many supply blocks that I've seen this game already. Like really a crap ton of supply blocks. And it's one of the things that I often, when I think of HeroMarine, I really do think of solid mechanics, just having a lot of units, good macro. This game, that's not quite the case. It has not quite been the case. I think it's been supply block for like a minute and a half total, maybe a bit more. Tanks are going to get taken out here. This is not a fight that HeroMarine could take apparently. Corruptors make short work of not just the BCs, but also all the medeffects. Now can just probably continue on. Yeah, Lambo's absolutely crushing this fight. Triple Corruptors are gonna get taken out, but so will 3 of these battlecruisers most likely, as the teleportation is still on cooldown. There's no SCVs to repair. Final tank gets taken out as well. Plenty of money in the bank for Lambo. Plenty of units still on the ground as well. Every single medevac is going to get taken out. Turrets do help against the Corruptors, but GG gets called as HeroMarine is forced to tap out. Alright, here we are in game number 2, and I checked the total amount of time that HeroMarine was supply blocked, and it was 2 minutes and 37 seconds. Now granted, some of that was due to the roach push that Lambo did, killing 4 depots, but it's still an extraordinarily long amount of time. It's the amount of time, I think it was like an 18% of the game, HeroMarine was supply blocked. That is very, very long. I actually was surprised by how long that was. In comparison, Lambo was supply blocked for 1 minute and 11 seconds, so less than half of what HeroMarine was supply blocked. I was going to open up with a pool first this time around. He's looking for proxies as well. I wonder if he's going to go into some type of roach all-in or if he has other plans. It's very funny when people often think about StarCraft 2 at the highest level. Like you think about things like mechanics, obviously, like, oh, this player has very good mechanics. And it's really cool to see like the statistics kind of behind it, like the supply block time, like the spending quotient. So like just seeing how quick people spend their money or how much they're floating the entire time. Like this type of stuff actually really does matter. It's not the greatest indicator of skill necessarily. Like you can be a bronze player and never be supply blocked if all you do is just build pylons for the first 5 minutes. But at a very high level, it's often a pretty decent indicator as well of how good someone is. How quick are they at spending their money. There's other factors as well, like micro decision making, which are extremely important at the highest level. But don't underestimate this either. Like being supply blocked for 2 minutes in a game is extremely impactful. And whenever a lot of pro players look at games, obviously you have a bit of decision making in there. And sometimes an entire game can just be explained away. It's like, okay, I just macroed poorly. Like I just was supply blocked. I was floating 500 minerals when I couldn't. Now this isn't necessarily because they have bad macro, but oftentimes when you're forced to make decisions during a game, other things suffer. Like ideally as a pro, you're not really thinking during the game. You're just autopiloting and you know all the responses, like either instinctually or because you've played these exact scenarios before and you have a thought out response, which you can just kind of defer to. So whenever something weird happens, often people's mechanics will suffer as well. And in this case, it was a roach all-in, and the game became kind of odd after that, right? Like you have 3 battlecruisers flying around, and you need to make a lot of very conscious decisions, like, okay, how do I want to approach it from here? This is new territory, and then people's mechanics tend to suffer a lot. I think that's kind of what we saw happen here. For HeroMarine, it's very important that he gets the game into a stable area, into a part of the game where he knows what's going on, where he's familiar with the openers. And this is a good start already, because he's just looking. He's just looking, you know, he's just figured out, hey, is there any roaches trying to sneak by? Any lings? And he's just poking in, poking out, just making sure nothing weird is happening. He's gonna follow this up with a mine drop. I think there's gonna be 5 marines. No, 6 marines, excuse me. 6 marines and a mine in a medevac. 3rd CC gets taken out. Now this would be considered a 2cc opener, despite there being a 3rd base before the 4-minute mark. But that's just because of that 2nd gas being there as well. Oh, there we go. Moves out on the map immediately and starts flying across. Reaper and Hellion will try to deny this. The factory is going to produce a couple of extra Hellions. Ooh, I love this Raven follow-up. You know that. Huge fan of Ravens. The Raven is the one unit that everyone always talks about. It's like, hey, why don't people build more Ravens? And one of the reasons is because it's quite tricky to control in combination with the Hellions. It feels like it should have some synergy, but it always flies ahead. A Raven is quite fast, and that's a plus, that's a bonus, but it can also be quite annoying when it's always ahead of your army. It's not nice to move, and because Queens have such long range against air, it can be frustrating to use. However, if you keep the Raven alive as a Terran, which should be somewhat possible, it's one of the most powerful units you're ever going to see. The anti-armor missile, -3 armor. Just let that sink in. A single anti-armor missile is as powerful as basically your opponent's 3 armor upgrades. And it can cover an entire Zerg army. Like, it changes fights in a big way. Like, in a crazy big way. The only problem, of course, is that it has way less harass potential than the other units that you can get from the starport have. If you compare it to like a BC, if you compare it to like a double Banshee opener, or even a Liberator or a Viking, it just doesn't have the same potential. It aids in clearing creep, and you'll get better eco because you have to spend... Ooh, nice mine shot. It spends less scans, but it doesn't have a direct way to deal damage. And this often allows the Zerg to get a very high drone count early on in the game. Creep spread is a different story, of course. You see a lot of that creep already being taken out. This is frustrating for 2 reasons, and it can actually aid in the mid-game push, the first medevac push out. That's a lot more creep tumors need to be added out of the Queens. That means that there's less transfuse energy available. So there are trade-offs there as a Terran. Oh! Well, that's not a trade-off. That's a straight-up kill with a mine on like 9 links. So basically, if you open up with a Raven, you say, hey, I'm more focused on like a mid-game timing, where the defense of the Zerg will be basically weaker because my Raven can assist with either an anti-armor missile, and there most likely is going to be less transfuses and slightly less creep as well. So there's a lot of potential with that Raven for the mid-game push, but when it comes to eco damage, you just don't have quite as much. So yeah, if the early game of the Zerg is solid, it's really difficult for the Terran to be up in supply, and we already see that here. Lambo is pulling ahead in supply right now, and if there was 2 Banshees flying around, first of all, you'd need to split the Queens defensively, might lose a couple of extra workers, perhaps you need more spores as well as the Zerg player. Right now we only have a single spore, so Lambo getting away with a very greedy defense. Already has 1-1, 20 more links on the way. He's floating a fair chunk of cash though. Wouldn't mind a 5th base or a macro hatch in the main base. A couple of Queens maybe even at this point. This is getting painful. Okay, we have a macro hatch going down here already. So Lambo realized this was a very fast macro hatch, saying, okay, I don't think I can quite spend my money in a minute or so from now. He anticipated that he missed a couple of injects perhaps. Very cool to see. I mean, he should just be up like 20 supply at this point, right? He's floating like legit 2k resources. That's really bad. There's going to be a big run by here on the right side. This could just be a Baneling bust as well. Defensively are going to need some Banelings as well, though. Can we morph Banes? You forgot the Baneling nest! Oh no! What a terrible, terrible way to go. Oh, imagine setting up for a Ling Baneling push and realizing you don't have a Baneling nest. Defensively, this also is an issue, of course. This game could have just straight up been over had Banelings been here. Here comes the anti-armor missile. All of these queens are now orange. And despite me liking that color, I don't think that's quite what these queens want. They're taking a lot of damage against the Marines. All these Lings have gone down. There's still so much money in the bank as well here for Lambo. Now finally getting his first Banes. Baneling speed being researched as well. 5th base, which is now the 4th, is finished. Or has finished, practically. And these drones will start mining there immediately, but... Oh, this is a nightmare scenario for getting the Baneling nest. Oi, 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 oi. Former Banes are being constructed right now. Lambo perhaps setting up for a late Baneling attack. But yeah, this is not gonna work anymore. HeroMarine is super ready for it right now. Helvet's in position, mine in position as well. This Raven's still alive, which is huge. It can still be used in like a 2-2 type of timing as well. It isn't a one-time thing. Like, it continuously provides a lot of support to an army, a lot of utility at clearing creep. And especially if you take out queens at some point and move around with the Raven, you save so much money. And we see the supply for HeroMarine is extremely high as well. Wow, beautiful. Beautiful opener here for HeroMarine. Very unfortunate that Lambo forgot that Baneling nest. That is a game-deciding error, perhaps. If Lambo ends up dying in the next minute or so. Ooh, another anti-armor missile. And allows HeroMarine to snipe a queen with ease, of course. Baneling speed is going to finish up. Lambo, I think, should realize that something might be happening on the far right side. This is not a viable base to keep. Like, there's no creep spread going there. I think Lambo knows it as well. Just needs to cancel it and give it up. Focus on that left-hand side instead. Infestation pit should be on the way soon as well. We have no queen over here on this 4th base. No injects there. We still have a lot of money floating here for Lambo, while HeroMarine already moving in to a maxed position. Raven, where are you? Oh, you're just idling in the far left corner. Not that many kills in the Raven, but it's not what matters. There's a lot of support to the army. A lot of support. 159 links. That's a lot of links, isn't it? 2-2 timing for Lambo? Possibility? Maybe, maybe not. Curious to see. Okay. Raven's going to set up. Try to go for another turret. I feel like it's almost wasted. I think it's way more useful with the main army here. HeroMarine realizing that there's a lot of units on the way. Sees it in the sensor tower. Going to go in for a defense. +2 finishes up at this point for HeroMarine as well. Couple of mines are there. Baneling's moving in. Tank is going to get taken out before it even gets a single shot off. And Lambo actually getting a fantastic fight here. I'm surprised by how well this fight went. He's going to be taking out a lot of these units. We'll still need to try and clear this planetary as well. Oh my god. Lambo won the game. Did he? Well, it's 68 workers only for Lambo, so this is a lot more all-in than I thought as well. But this planetary will get taken out. SCV should die here as well. Lambo still needs to be careful. Double supply drops coming down for HeroMarine right now. They lose a couple more of these depots. Mines will get taken out. Can we get some more SCVs? Huge mine shot! Oh no! How many was that? It was like 30 links. It was like 30 links. 5 SCVs are going to get saved. And at the end of the day... Was this a win for Lambo? Yeah, it was a win for Lambo. Did he lose all of those links in the end against the mine? And was that bad? Yeah, that was bad as well. There's a lot of medevacs, which means that this army will fight pretty okay. But at the same time, there's no 4th base. This is a weird situation we're finding ourselves in right now. Income is very close, but this is non-sustainable income here for HeroMarine. No 4th base. This was done with like 2 rounds of mules saved up. Like this is 6, now 5 mules. So this is non-sustainable income for HeroMarine, while Lambo has sustainable income. That means that in a minute from now is when HeroMarine will hit his peak. Or well, maybe even less, like maybe 30 seconds from now. That is before 3-3 finishes. The question now will be, is HeroMarine going to wait for 3-3 before doing a massive push? Or is he already going to start going before those upgrades hit? So there's like a non-synchronized like peak basically here for HeroMarine. Right now is the army peak. And in about 30 to 40 seconds from now, he's going to have a peak when it comes to the upgrades. He will be up 2 upgrades. Is that Raven still alive somewhere? No, it has died. This medevac really should not die. That's super important. At the same time, another big portion of army is going to move towards the right side. Lambo right now outmining his opponent. He's going to be down in upgrades soon. Ooh, connects with these veins on the Marauders, not quite what you want usually. Is extremely cost inefficient. There's no creep on the far right side. HeroMarine not building a fort base, instead producing out of, what is this, 1, 2, 3, 8 Rexes at a time. Could flow this main command center over to the fort at some point. But still, this is the income as we see it right now is a situation that will stay for most likely the remainder of the game. And it feels like HeroMarine wants to try and end it here. I don't quite understand why Lambo's trying to defend this 6th base. It is not necessary. You are up 2 bases, my friend. Just be happy with 2 bases. Why push it and lose a lot of units off creep trying to defend the 6th? That isn't even necessary. Also being a bit too aggressive here on the left side. 3-3 now is being resourced. Drones are being rallied into the opponent's army. Now the Bane's on creep here can perhaps deal a little bit of damage. Do get some decent connections here. Perhaps can get a bit more still. Mines are going to get taken out. Good splits by Lambo this time around. Lose very little links against these mines. At the same time though, this army can't really be stopped. No banelings on the right side. That means that 3-3 Marines and Marauders are just going to be a bit too much. Lambo forced to tap out. Well, at the same time he was pushing forward here on the left. So many medevacs in this army. 14 medevacs, yeah. HeroMarine is going to take game number 2 here, and we'll be heading into the 3rd map. And here we are in our final game of this best of 3 between HeroMarine and Lambo. This time it's going to be on Moondance. One of the maps with a backdoor base. Is that what you call it? A pocket expansion, I think is what we usually call it. It's going to be a tricky one to scout, especially for the Zerg, whether there's a 3rd base there or not. You can do some really tricky builds, and you can also build the CC on location, which is just great for Terran overall. 4 orbital openers are quite common on this map as well, and are just extremely strong. So it's something that we're kind of looking to, saying, hey, how well adjusted is HeroMarine to these new maps? How comfortable does he feel doing this type of play? Especially an important game, you know, game number 3. How comfortable do you really feel? How does it feel? That's the real question here. CC is going to be built on location on the natural, as we have a Reaper as the starting unit. SCV is going to scout. It's not going to see anything though. Completely useless idiot. Oh, back home. Actually, just knowing that there's nothing there is useful already, right? You don't just scout for something cheesy, you also scout whether it's normal or not, so you can just continue with your regular plan. So no matter what, you're going to get some useful information. Good job, SCV. You can go back home, back to mining minerals for the rest of your life. Enjoy. The worst part is that you always have to work in the natural as well, if you're a scouting SCV. So first you risk your life in case it's like an early pull out of your opponent. The SCV might end up dying to like a queen or a couple of links. And even if you don't die to a queen or a couple of links, you're forced to go in towards the natural. Actually, maybe he'll build a 3rd CC with this. That'd be fantastic. Look at that. Boom. Important SCV. He's gonna write a big book when he's done working. Autobiography. So it's a triple CC opener, similar to like we saw in the first game. Which is funny because last game, well, was it really the opener that made HeroMarine win? No, it wasn't. It was the fact that Lambo forgot that Baneling nest. It was a huge factor. A deciding factor maybe even here for that second game. That actually was really big. Lambo had extremely nice early game when it comes to money. Did float a little bit too much perhaps and couldn't spend everything, but yeah, it was painful to watch. Look at this Overlord. Just chilling in the back, wanting to know whether it's a 30. Why was that 30cc build on the high ground? He's gonna float it forward perhaps. Fort base in the back door. Also a possibility. I mean, you can still use it later on as well. This is going to be a... Is this a 4 Hellion? Yeah, 4 Hellion into 2-on-1 type of build order. Very cool build. I'm a huge fan of this one personally. Huge, huge fan. Stay on a single gas for such a long time. You have great mineral income. Look how late that second gas is. It's like almost 35 seconds later than we usually see a gas. That's just great stuff. It's actually great stuff. Lambo is going to scout everything though. So he'll be completely aware of what the timings are here. This is an extremely common build order. He knows this is with a bunch of Hellions at the start. Wait, did he cancel Hellion 3 and 4? Oh, it's just going to be 2 Hellions? Okay. Cancelled Hellion 3 and 4. Or at least cancelled Hellion 3. I'm not sure if he ever started Hellion 4, actually. I'm so curious what this CC is going to do. It has to float forward, otherwise you just build it on location, right? Would make no sense whatsoever. 2 more queens on the way. So going up to 8 queens pretty quickly here. And that is one of these things that is super common against this type of build order. Very heavy marine stars, a regular 2-on-1, a triple CC 2-on-1. You want these big queen numbers. You saw people like Rainer sometimes even go up to like 10, 12 queens in the early game. And you just drone it out, you know, mass drone. And I hope you can take it from there. Now, fort base is going to get built as well here. We see the baneling nest being thrown down here. Lambo not making the same mistake twice. This time it's a different type of build though. This is not a double evo chamber for a quick 1-1 or 2-2 timing. No, this is rushing into that baneling speed, which will allow Lambo to stop that first push with ease. And, well, not the entire first push. The first push with those 16 marines and these 2 medevacts will have to be stopped by just queens. But when you get the first real push, perhaps even with a tank in there, if HeroMarine decides to build one, and he indeed is deciding to build one, that is when things really start going on. Like 1-2 tanks, maybe 1-1 will be done as well. You'll have baneling speed by that way before it already. And there's potential for run-bys with banelings as well. Of course, look at these banes go. Yeah, it's going to be a 5 baneling run-by. Very cool play. This hatch cannot die. It is extremely important. Ooh, we have 1 transfuse, 2nd transfuse. We get a 3rd transfuse? No, we do not. That's a lot of links. Or a lot of marines, sorry, that went down here. 4 marines went down. 4 links also went down. We're currently at 10 queens total already. Links do not want to engage into that. Do want to force out a stim though, and does exactly that. 10 workers go down against 5 banelings. Very nice pickoff here for Lambo. Putting HeroMarine on the back foot. In a painful position right now. 48 now, 51 workers. Lambo at 65 already. Getting 2 extra hatcheries. 1-1 upgrades similarly timed. And baneling speed is about to finish up. Don't forget the queen count still very high at 11. And queens aren't just useful in just the early game defense, but also later on in the game. Medevac gets taken out here. A queen for a medevac, that's a trait that Lambo's going to take any time of day. Every single time this happens, he's going to be a very happy camper. And I wouldn't mind, yeah. 10 more drones here. I think is the correct call. You held this push. You still have a high queen count. Yes, transfuse energy is a bit low. Centrifugal hooks, however, has finished up already. We don't need to build any more units at this point. Just by morphing banelings, we're going to be fine. So all larvae can be put into those extra... Ooh, don't want to fight off creep. Into those extra drones. Just going to go up to 73 for now, as we'll have to wait and see what HeroMarine's plans are. No 4CC quite yet. We're already 7 minutes into the game, so that is quite late for the opener that HeroMarine played. The fact that there's no 4CC on the way yet doesn't mean he's necessarily going to all in. It just means that he lost 10 workers to a 5 baneling run by, and I was in a little bit of trouble as a result of that. Still 6 marines here on the right side. Creep threat looking absolutely fabulous here out of Lambo, by the way. Can I just... Oh my god. Can I just say that? That is beautiful stuff, isn't it? That is some absolutely phenomenal stuff here. Bad boy is going to drop in towards the... No, not towards the 5th base. There's so many bases. 6th already on the way as well. 85 workers for Lambo. It's floating 800 gas. So the ratio is off somewhere. Or perhaps the plan is to quickly tech into a hive from this point on. We have a couple of queens, or 1 queen extra on the way. Surprising that we're seeing an extra queen being built here. We still have 10. Hydra then, as well as an infestation pit. Okay, now we have to take a look at this engagement, because this could be a game deciding engagement already. If he gets a medevac, that's big. It's not game deciding, but it is important. 2-2 could start and should start here for Lambo. Lambo says, no, I'm gonna pull the trigger. I don't give a crap about my upgrades, dude. I just took out another medevac. I have 1-1 upgrades. I think I'm up 30-40 supply. I want to engage into your bases. Look at this surround that Lambo is setting up. Coming from, what is it, 3 angles? Lynx will not be capable of moving up here, though. Lambo now is about to realize that. Comes in from two main sides. There are some tanks in position, not on the high ground though. These tanks are going to get taken out eventually. Mines burrowing, but it's a little bit too slow. Mines will stay alive. 22, 23, 25 workers get taken out as a lift gets forced on this third command center. We have a fort base in the forward position as well. And I think that Lambo might just be capable of breaking this. Now, we've been in this exact scenario before in the last game, except back then it was 65 workers for Lambo and he had no bank and he wasn't up 80 supply. So actually we did not have this exact scenario. This scenario is like a million times better. Like a lot better. It's like saying just because you won a scratch ticket once is the same as winning the lottery. I actually won multiple scratch tickets. When I was a kid, I thought the easiest way to get rich is by buying a lot of scratch tickets. Scratch-off tickets? What do you call them? I'm not quite sure what they're called. Anyway, I used to get loads of... I asked them for my birthday as well. So everyone would always just give me scratch tickets. It's a losing business. But it's very exciting when someone gives you a scratch ticket that they paid only €5 for. You win like 25 euros. There's a certain pain in their eyes that it could have been them. You know, back then we didn't know it was called FOMO, but now we do that. It's called FOMO. And it's nice to see as well on your birthday, you know. And other people getting FOMO because you're winning 25 bucks on a scratch ticket. But on the other hand, I mean, overall it's still a money-losing scheme. It's not the type of scheme I usually want to be involved in. How did I get there? I can't recall. Ah, right. Yeah, so this situation is a lot better for Lambo. That's how I got there. It's already going to seismic spines. I mean, it's like 12 bases. What is it? 1, 2, 5, 7. 7 bases. Decent creep, well, good creep spread, basically touching the third base of HeroMarine. HeroMarine did manage to get the back base finally, and should start his 3-3 soon as well. The one problem for Lambo, perhaps, is that his 2-2 upgrades are a little bit delayed, and that might allow HeroMarine to stabilize, at least temporarily. Ghost Academy being thrown down as well. There is... this is decent, is it? This is what, 7, 8? 8 barracks. Mainly reactors, well, 5 reactor against 3 tech labs. I like this position so much for Lambo here. This is also a map where it's kind of okay to split the map for Zerg, I think. Especially if you're in such a dominant position. So even if this goes into a late game, it might be okay, but I doubt it will. Lambo once again is pushing in to 2, not quite done yet. Carapace not even done yet either. Lambo doesn't give a crap. He's gonna pull the trigger. Baneling's going to connect with a lot of these SCVs in the natural. At the same time, the Lynx and the Hydras go back towards the third as well. More SCVs going down in the net. And Lambo still up 80 supply. And a completely dominant position in this game and in this series. As a result of that, 3 Vipers are being constructed. Adrenal glands, grooved spines. What are these called again? The digging claws, adaptive talents, carapace level 3 plus 2 melee. Like, this is such a good situation for Lambo right now. It's gonna run by some of these banelings. Take a look at how HeroMarine responds to this. He does not whatsoever. It's gonna lose every single SCV, almost every single SCV. At the same time, once again, Lambo moves forward. A couple of mines are still alive, but yeah, currently HeroMarine on some heavy copium, as he's trying to figure out a way to magically claw his way back into this game. 38 more links on the way for Lambo. 3 lurkers being constructed as well. And with the lurker, this game really should just actually end. HeroMarine should actually, maybe even before the lurkers hit the field even. I mean, this base is probably just gonna get taken out. Not too much you can do about it anymore. Baneling's moving in, and yeah, once the third CC dies, I mean, what is there left but 2 GG? That's exactly what HeroMarine does. Lambo wins the series 2-1 in a pretty exciting best of 3 Terran versus Zerg. I hope you all enjoyed it as well. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see all of you next time for a new video. Thanks so much, and bye bye.